true. "I'm done for now," she said, as the horse's hooves hit the ground, but he was with her in a second, too late. There was to be no other sound, and as on the ground she lay, his old mate of 40 years, a wild Brumby, her undoing. He was no longer fighting that flood of gut-wrenching tears. Her blonde hair, now greyed and tangled, all bloody from the fall, her lithe and mincing body twisted. To ride the cattle muster, he'd not see her any more. No little babe slung easily into saddle, as she had when her brood were young. Front or back, it didn't matter. Like little Joeys, there they were, they just hung on. They mustered, drove and pleasured, they camped drafted with the best. She stood head high amongst them, but still she just came up to his chest. They brought 800 bullocks down from Queensland to fatten on the plains, from halfway headed home again to find a wanton child who'd turned her pony's head northward to go home to old haunts. No New South Wales paddocks were going to curb that freedom's child. My God, the mother she was angry and promptly turned the pony's head southward once again. 800 bullocks, 4 children, mum and dad, heading southwards to the plains, with grass above the ponies' heads after soul-drenching rains. But those rains were no match now for the grief that struck him down as he cradled her head in his big arms and held her to his chest and knew that of all the grief they'd shared, this was to be his hardest test. No more of those early mornings when the dew was silver on the ground and the horses saddled, snorting, pouring, ready for those flights amongst the trees as the silver red and brindle rushed and trotted and created their own breeze out into grass. Dogs barked, whips sung, spurs flanked in wet chestnut hides as the riders wheeled and galloped on those exciting rides of all the times when death had stalked them, broken stirrups at full gallop, severed reins in full flight, crossing flooded rivers in the middle of an awesome darkened night. This time, least of all, when he was to be prepared to meet death face to face, to find the old one had outsmarted him and snatched from him his dearest mate. They buried her, they say, in church ground, surrounded by family, friends and crowds, one sparkling winter morning with the frost heavy on the trees. They could hear the snorts and bellows of the cattle as they called to each other from afar, and calves answering as they sought each other out. Safe, all now together, but there was only dark grief in his now broken heart. So one morning he came back and took her casket up once more, for the blue sky and the sun to shine and glint on the silver handles and the cross that breasted it and carried it deep into the mountains, where she always loved to ride, and placed it on a hilltop. So now she is astride that glorious mountain range and the majestic Great Divide, and there she lies, where the cattle and the horses roam free and wild, that tall Queenslander's woman on her last eternal ride.